We're 1 week away from the start of Halloween Horror Nights, and we're diving into all the recent spooky news you need to know for this year's premier Universal party event. And I'm jumping on the bandwagon and giving my Orlando house hype list for HHN 2024. Plus, Universal gives us a look at the new Helios Grand Hotel and so much more. It's your theme park news for the week of August 22nd. There's only one thing scarier than Halloween Horror Nights, and that's all this news. We've got breaking news. Universal has released a video featuring details of their new premium hotel, the Helios Grand. The 500-room Lowe's property features a Mediterranean theme, gorgeous Epic Universe views, and gold. So much gold. Modeled after the Greek god of the sun, the hotel entranceway is set to transport guests into space with celestial patterns and constellations from wall to ceiling. Rooms offer a tranquil escape from the theme park, with many having amazing views of Epic Universe. There are also Minions and How to Train Your Dragon rooms for the kids. When it comes to food, the Helios has guests covered with Flora Taverna, a full-service restaurant, Aurora Marketplace, a coffee shop and quick service, and poolside bar Lotus Lagoon featuring cocktails, burgers, salads, and more. Booking information will be coming soon, so start saving those pennies and keep an eye on UniversalOrlando.com for updates. Universal's Helios Grand Hotel opens alongside Epic Universe in 2025. Well, we've got an icon, or is that icons? Meet Sinist 3er and Sir 3L. For 33 years, the screams of guests have been collected, probably in a giant scream bag, I guess, forming a monstrous manifestation of the horror that lives in our hearts. I think the horror in my heart is just clogged arteries. Anyway, through a convoluted amount of marketing backstory, two worlds formed, one fueled by physical pain and the other by psychological torment. These worlds are ruled over by Sinist 3er and Sir 3L. They're probably going to try to kill us all, so get ready for that when the opening ceremonies kick off on August 30th. We finally know the official name of that Blumhouse scare zone that leaked after Universal forgot that a giant Blumhouse logo would be a massive spoiler for the unannounced zone. Enter the Blumhouse will be located in the San Francisco area, even though there's no physical house to enter. But to be fair, enter the open-air collection of Blumhouse set pieces. It's too long to fit on a t-shirt. Run a terrifying gauntlet of Blumhouse characters from the Grabber to Thregan to Clyde, the guy that sold you your Ford Explorer. The zone promises to be a new kind of horror. Also, Clyde called and needs you to call him about adding on an extended warranty. So you might need to call your dealer. The HHN medallion has appeared at the entrance to Universal Studios Orlando, signaling the start of spooky season at the park. There it is, in all its glory. The facade for this year's tribute store is also materialized. It's a shipping container, so we'll be entering into a shipping container. Some years are better than others. The facade features graffiti in line with the aesthetic we've seen in all of the art shown so far. What do you think is going to be inside? Are we going to get some post-punk rave action? Leave a comment and let the speculation commence. Apparently, Universal does love their annual pass holders. This year's HHN pass holder exclusive merchandise has been revealed, and boy are they going to sell a ton of these. The new merch features iconic fixture of Horror Nights, Mel's Die-In. Who knew that not lighting an R and an N in your neon sign would be such a huge hit? But last year there was almost a riot when Universal said that it wouldn't be used, which they quickly decided was a horrible idea. Mel's Die-In shirt, metal sign, and pen are available now at All Hallows Eve over at Islands of Adventure, and will probably be at the Tribute store when it opens next week. But don't take my word for it because I don't know anything because nobody ever tells me anything. And that's enough of that. I'm ready to get hyped. Hyped. Right, guys? I'm alone in here. I have to tell you guys, I almost enjoy the lead up to Horror Nights as much as I love the event itself. All of the speculation, the anticipation, it's one of the best things about the HHN community. Now that we know all of the houses for Orlando's premier Halloween event, let's get hyped about them. In a week, we're going to be flooded with videos and opinions of the real thing, so this is the last chance I'll get to give my ranking based purely on the small amount of nuggets released by Universal Marketing. Let's do it. Number 10, Triplets of Terror. I hate to dump this one here, as I've seen it at the bottom of a lot of lists. But based off this dopey art and this terrible description that makes it sound like a Chinese knockoff of Texas Chainsaw Massacre, I just can't place it any higher. But I did cheat and look at an article coming out of the Unmasking the Horror tour of the set, and I do have a little more hope that I won't completely hate it. Now, there's slight spoilers ahead, so I'll give you guys fair warning to jump ahead if you don't want to be spoiled. Okay, I'm no longer legally responsible for your spoiling. Also, you know what? I'm never legally responsible for your spoiling. Why would I ever say that? You're just going to sue me every time somebody spoils Deadpool versus Freddy and Jason. I don't know. In an article on Orlando Informer, they say about the Triplets house, you're thrust into the midst of a buzzing true crime community, surrounded by newspaper clippings and the puzzled discussions of podcasters trying to unravel the mystery of the murders. What? This is a true crime podcast house? If this is what creative is going for, then why didn't they use that in their description? It at the very least lets us know that there's a concept that they're going for, and that this isn't just random scary killer house. Murder podcasts are huge, and I don't know how that's going to translate to a house, but even if it's a failure, it won't be a generic failure like my life. It'll be interesting to see where this lands on my final list. If you want to get a glimpse of what Orlando Informer experienced during their 3-house tour, then head over to their blog at orlandoinformer.com. Number 9, Insidious, The Further. Hey, I'm sorry, Insidious. I've only seen like the first 2 movies and I liked them. I'm just not in love with them. I'm sure this is going to be a good house. I'm also just not hyped for it. But I also wasn't hyped for Exorcist last year, and that house was way better than the movie it's based on. So there's a chance this might blow me away. As for now, it's going to sit at number 9. Number 8, Monstruos, Monsters of Latin America. Coming to us from the other coast, Monstruos is based on 3 terrifying legends, all of which I cannot pronounce because the only Spanish I know is Donde está el discoteque, and that's not at all helpful. Unless, like, I find myself in Mexico City on a Saturday night. Hollywood has had a ton of success with their Latin American themed mazes, so I'm excited to see how scary this one is going to get. But only as excited as number 8, so take that as you will. Number 7, The Museum, Deadly Exhibits. I love museums, so I'm really hoping that they nail this theming. If I walk into this house and see an information desk, I'm going to geek out hard. This one would be higher on my list, but Egyptian motif just really isn't my thing. It's too much beige for my taste. Hey, it sounds like the nightmare version of Night at the Museum. Number 6, Goblin's Feast. I like goblins, I like feasts, but it feels a little bit like Dueling Dragons last year, and that house didn't do it for me. Maybe they'll let me kick a goblin, which has been a dream of mine for years. It's a bucket list. 1, I gotta have goblins that exist, and 2, they gotta let me kick them. And 3, I don't want to be murdered by one of these goblins. Look, it's just a lot to ask for. Let's just move on. Number 5, Major Sweets Candy Factory. Now we're turning up the hype. If I hate any of these next houses, I'll be seriously surprised, because these are the top 5. Major Sweets was a great scare zone, and it should make a great, wicked, Willy Wonka, twisted candy-fueled terror of a house. And being in the Fast and Furious queue only makes it better because of the automatic disappointment I feel when I approach that building. It can only improve from there, especially since I won't have to hear the word family. I'm going to have to hear the word family now, and a candy family. That's worse. God, I jinxed myself. Number 4, A Quiet Place. Rumor is that Universal is doing something experimental with this house in regards to sound design. I want to try to do this one a couple of times to see if my ability to stay quiet has an effect on the scares. Would have been higher if I was more of a fan, but as of now, this is where it lands. Also, I suck at being quiet. I like being loud. I'm a big fan of being loud, just right into the mic. Number 3, Ghostbusters Frozen Empire. Yeah, I wasn't a huge fan of the movie, but I'm still a huge fan of the franchise. I want to see the firehouse. I want to see the Ecto-1. I want to see the proton packs. I want to see flight suits. If I see these things, I'm happy. If I get to bust ghosts, I'm happy. I guess you could say that busting makes me like things. Number 2, Slaughter Cinema 2. These last two, I kept going back and forth on, but ultimately I had to pick one over the other. And you know what? I don't. This is my show. I can do whatever I want. I'm declaring a tie. This now changed to number 1A, Slaughter Cinema 2. Slaughter Cinema is one of my favorite houses of all time. As a fan of movies, this one hits me right in the sweet spot. Features multiple B movies, and there's no way it misses. I mean, come on, there's gonna be popcorn, right? There's gonna be disgusting, rotten popcorn. I'm such a fan of popcorn, I might eat monster popcorn. Even if I know that popcorn's gonna turn me into a monster, or a zombie, or is gonna taste really gross and stale. I don't care, I'm eating it. Number 1B, Universal Monsters Eternal Bloodlines. Number 1B, Universal Monsters Eternal Bloodlines. Last year's Universal Monsters house was one of my favorites, and this one looks like it's gonna trump it. Also, I shouldn't say Trump because people might think I'm being political. Female monsters and a monster hunting Van Helsing is everything I've ever wanted and more. Plus, the return of the bride, I'm here for it. Obviously, because my RIP tour has been booked for months. What am I gonna do, lose all that money? Probably not. I think I can cancel up to a week. Whatever, doesn't matter. I'm hyped, I'm excited. I can't wait to go. What do you guys think? Take to the comments to let me know what you're most hyped about this year. And if it's food and food booths, I get it. There's lots of food and food booths. Hype for everybody. And that's the show for this week. You know, I'm sure there's a ton of news that I just completely ignored because of my blind love for horror nights. But that's what next week's show is for. I know for a fact they put out that video from the Stardust Racers, the Star Scream thing, the coaster at Epic Universe. I don't know. I didn't care. I got excited because I saw that Mel's Dying merch. So until then, pretend I made up some cool tagline that made you laugh. Please. You're all I have.